agreement reached to access Port Asab of Eritrea. Ethiopia reopens its embassy in Asmara, Eritrea. Hello and welcome. This is OBN Amano Khalil with the news. Voice for the people. It was last month that Chief Executive Officer of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, Engineer Semenyo Bekele, was found dead in his car at Meskel Square in Fimne City. Today, the federal police has announced that he has committed suicide. The police said the pistol found in the car is his own registered property. It has been said that the forensic evidence is also witnessed that the engineer has committed suicide, FABC website reported. Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, stated that agreement has been reached to access Port Asab of Eritrea, that Ethiopia can use it. The Premier has returned home back safely after official visit to China and Eritrea. Mukhtar Haji had the story.
Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed has briefed the media after return home from China African Forum in Beijing and his second visit to Eritrea this year. In his statement, the Premier said China African Forum have successfully completed.
The main objective of our journey to China was to discuss the common issue we had with China and to prepare action plan. The discussion was also intended to review the Ethio-China relationship and to have preparation for the mutual relationship we would in the future.
Prime Minister Dr. Abiy said the Chinese government has decided to work with African countries with the worth of $60 billion.
Based on the China-Africa Forum before 3 years and the decision of Chinese government to work with African countries with the worth of $60 billion on the recent forum, the African countries and China have decided to work together in the coming 3 years. $60 billion will be allocated to African countries in the form of loan, investment, aid, and capacity building projects.
The Premier said the role of countries in their development activity would contribute a lot, benefited much from $60 billion allocated to Africans.
The issue of benefiting from $60 billion would be determined by the effort of the countries in their development activities. From the fund allocated previously, there were a lot of countries benefited from it, and there were also countries that were unable to benefit more due to the slow movement in economic activities.
Tarabi underscored that Ethiopia should work more than ever to be benefited a lot from the fund allocated to Africans.
Ethiopia should work actively to be benefited from the fund. To do so, critical preparation is very important.
The Premier said they have discussed with the Chinese government on issues of investment, loan and balanced trade relationship between the two countries.
We've received a big loan from Chinese government and China has wide investment activities in Ethiopia. We have discussed to achieve balanced trade relation. We have also got chance to make correction on some loans we had from China. We have extended payment of loans we have received to build Fimfine-Djibouti Railway from 10 years to 30 years. The China government has decided to work with Ethiopia in different fields ahead.
Premier has also visited Asab and Mizar ports of Eritrea. On the visit, the Premier said the visit was very successful, in which there have been discussed multilateral issues. He said one of the Ethiopia's ship has break through the Asab port after 20 years of detach. The two countries have discussed ways of working together in the future.
Ethiopia reopens its embassy in Eritrean capital Asmara after it was closed down 2 decades ago following the border war between the two countries that killed thousands of servicemen and women. The embassy was opened on Thursday in the presence of Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia, who was on 2 days working visit to Eritrea. The Premier arrived in Eritrea early Wednesday after attending the 7th Forum of China-Africa Cooperation for CAC in Beijing, China. It is to be recalled that Eritrea has reopened its embassy in Finfinne City, Ethiopia on July this year on the historic visit of Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki to Ethiopia after 2 decades. The new era of relations between the two countries was restarted after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed declared Ethiopia's acceptance of the Algiers Peace Accord that ended the 2 years of bloody war of 1998-2000. Ethiopia has appointed Redwan Hussein, who was serving as Ethiopia's ambassador to Ireland, as ambassador of Ethiopia to Eritrea last July. The appointment of Redwan is expected to further heightening of diplomatic defrost with Eritrea. Similarly, Eritrea has appointed the current Minister of Education, Samara Rusom, as ambassador to Ethiopia after its embassy reopened in Finfinne City last month, ENA's website reported. Eritrea, Ethiopia and Somalia have signed a joint declaration agreement on comprehensive cooperation on Wednesday. Signing of the joint declaration agreement on the comprehensive cooperation after Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki, Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia, and President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed or Farmajo of Somalia held a tripartite summit on the enhancement of regional ties of partnership in Asmara. Sharing close ties of geography, history, culture, religion, and vital common interests, the peoples of Ethiopia, Somalia, and Eritrea need to first respect each other's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. The governments of Ethiopia, Somalia, and Eritrea, with a desire to bolster their historical ties and achieve their lofty objectives, have agreed to foster comprehensive cooperation to advance their peoples, build close political, economic, social, and cultural and security ties, to work in coordination to promote regional peace and security, and establish a joint high-level committee to coordinate the joint declaration. Eritrea is edifying fresh buoyant relations with neighbors Ethiopia and Somalia by bringing the leaders of its former foes in a tripartite summit in Asmara. Likewise, Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed Farmajo also arrived in Asmara to heighten relations with neighboring Ethiopia and Eritrea, ENA's website reported. Head of the Opidio Central Office, Adana Chabebe, said the organization would change its name and logo, which is said the Central Committee has agreed upon that issue. Oluma Baina, the story.
The Opidio Central Committee meeting has been concluded after 2 days discussion. The meeting has discussed major issues that will be input for the 9th Opidio Organizational Conference that will be held from September 18 up to 20 in Jimma Town. Head of the Opidio Central Office, Adana Chabebe, said Opidio is in reform, therefore the committee has put directions so as to implement the reform based on public interest.
Opidio is the organization that lead Park of Reform. The light of this reform has been seen at the country level. Our conference will also focus on how to continue this change. To do so, the role of leadership is significant.
Adanich added that the committee has directed that Opidio will change its logo and organizational anthem to center the interest of Oromo people.
Our organization is established to keep the interest, culture, and value of Oromo people. Therefore, its name and logo should respect this interest. That is why we need to make the change.
Adanish noted that committee leaders are needed to transform the reform in various angles.
When we say reform, there is no reform that comes on its own. It needs leadership. Our people need real change. So there should be a reformer to transform the change.
Opidio, the ruling party of the Romanian state since 1991, and the chairman of the organization is Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, and vice chairman is Lama Magarsa, president of the Romanian state. Scholars from Addis Ababa University called on Oromo political parties to form coalition and form a strong political party that would benefit their people. Fakad Burhanu had the story.
Scholars of Addis Ababa University who have discussed the unity of Oromo political parties said numerous number of political parties of Oromo has impact on the political development of the region.
As political parties became many in number, they divide the nation into different parties. So they should focus on benefit of their people and discuss together in order to serve their people in unison.
There were such challenges at transitional period. At that time, the Oromo political parties couldn't understand each other and they were departed. The Oromo people were in challenge for the last 27 years due to this. So the current Oromo political parties should learn from the past and discuss together to be united.
The scholars note that the political parties should be united in order to sustain the ever-started changes in the region as well as in the country.
Having one strong political party is not guarantee for Oromo people. There should be two strong political parties in the region. So the current political parties should join together and form coalition to establish one strong party.
The scholars further note that it is crucial to stand beside the government to sustain the started reforms.
Our current leaders who brought this change deserve support because they have been working for their people through listening to them. Therefore, scholars, Abagadas, youth, and the diaspora should share their part in supporting the reformist leaders.
The more you get divided, the more you lose power. That's what they meant, I think. Finfinne City administration stated that it is working with attention to ensure fair education access and quality. The CCA has held an education conference in Finfinne City, the capital of Ethiopia, and the capital of Oromia. Oluma Baina has more.
27th Education Conference of Finfinne City has held with theme of working in a new perspective to ensure quality of education. Deputy Mayor of Finfinne City, Dagmait Moga, said education quality is not realized only by the government. Rather, various stakeholders should play their fair share. It is obvious that the major objective of our education policy is to improve quantity and quality of education in a fair way, so as to create generations that can play a key role in socio-economic and political aspects. To do so, we need to strive to identify and work on it. Problems that hinders education quality, like lack of input, skilled manpower, and even attitude, she said. Dagmar noted that the main purpose of the conference is to evaluate work performance of 2017-18 and put direction for 2018-19 fiscal year. Head of Finfinne City Education Bureau, Dr. Tabor Garamadin, also said they have been working to solve problems that have been challenging education quality.
We have been working in collaboration with teachers, families, and students to realize education quality and addressing all children whose age is reached to education.
Vice Head of Finfinne City Education Bureau, Daniel Garu, said they have been working to solve the limitations of logistics and manpower of Finfinne City Afan Oromo medium schools.
This year, Afan Oromo medium schools are organized under Finfinne City Education Bureau. So we have been working to alleviate challenges that would face, especially in terms of logistics. The number of students in these schools has been increasing slowly.
Yeah, it should be worked on education in many corners. That Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed has also warned the country. If it does not work on education, the failure is not far. That's what he said, and it should be worked on that. That's also our message. Thanks for watching. Have a good time. Bye-bye.